Welcome everyone to the World Energy Healing Session for Tuesday, April 29th. So we're coming to the end of the month, and we've also transformed into the waxing moon just a day or so ago. So we're going to look at people pleasing today. And one of the aspects of people pleasing that is natural to us is the females, women, which would also possibly relate to the feminine. It would, we are more agreeable, so we would want to please. Why? That would be an evolutionary uh, attribute because the female of the sex is weaker. So, you would rather, when you see a small dog with a big dog and the small dog is barking at the big dog, that is just anxiety. It doesn't make sense. So it would be the same as a female, going towards a male and starting to get rambunctious, hitting the male or doing something like that. So that would not be a natural way of dealing with things. Females should mostly tend and befriend, just like someone smaller. I mean, there are obviously some females. I'm a big person. Well, used to be considered a big person, 5'10", 200 pounds. And I believed when I was 18 or 17 with my first boyfriend, who was just a little taller than me and probably the same size as me at the time. And I thought in those days that I can certainly hold my own. And I had a few little wrestling matches with him. And I learned very quickly there's no way to overcome a male. I mean, obviously, I could build up or do something, but even then, the upper body strength I don't think would work out. So even my partner now is a little bit smaller than me, and there's no way I can beat him. He's a little bit shorter than me, and he weighs less than I do, and still, there's no way I could out arm wrestle or push him. He's gonna beat me. So that makes a lot of sense why the feminine would tend and befriend, or someone smaller would tend and befriend and have this tendency to people please. There is, often this idea of a threat. So we have to keep in mind that natural aspect within each human being. But when does it go over the line is what we're going to look at. When do our belief systems, when does resignation come in, fear come in, where we're just too afraid, let's say, to say something or to say no? Okay, those aspects will work through what we call active memory, those memories within us that have conditioned us. That's one part where we're easily conditionable humans, right? Most humans can be easily convinced to do something. So it happens really young. And then there's pleasing for our own narcissistic needs. Okay, so that they're in competition, right? So the part of us that says, I'm going to please the other so I get something. And we often forget that. There's the part where I'm going to please someone because I like to please them. Often people will say, I please because it gives me pleasure. But there's this other part that they say, but it becomes I feel like I'm taken advantage of. Then you've got it's almost like some wires are crossed, right? So if I'm going to please others and then I feel as though the resentment comes up and I feel as though I'm being taken advantage of, then you're not discerning properly in your gut brain. So you're not really deciding whether this is appropriate to do. Because if doing something for someone actually pleases you, you don't care whether they say thank you. You don't care if they appreciate it because you've already got your reward. Does that make sense? So if you already have your reward, right? When you exercise, you have your reward. You don't need exercise to give back to you. When you eat a meal and it tastes good and feels good and you made it, you don't need it to give anything more than that pleasure. So it's the same as people pleasing. So I don't often, let's say, respect that answer unless you just love giving and that's what you do and you have no difficulty with it. Now, there's another category that can come up, which is sure, I do something, but it would be nice if the other person, um, gives back. And yeah, I could say, well, you should say something about it. You should create that contract beforehand. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, you do something nice for someone, and you do many things nice for them. You're in a relationship where you're close, or you love the person, or you're good friends. At some point, there would need to be reciprocation. Uh, I would say that if you've decided on investing in a friendship that is not giving you a return, you're not being respected or loved or cared for either, those might be your conditions for friendship. Then you need your gut brain to help you out and say, okay, I'm not going to stay in this friendship. So as you can see, that those are just a few things coming up. It's way more complex than that, but we'll work through those. So obviously, I've said gut brain many times. So the gut brain obviously is a big part of people pleasing. So one is your habits. They run through the entire nervous system. They feed every single cell of body. You're going to have that habit to go and people please. So let's work with that people please. And then some people are just disagreeable too. So maybe we could pull some of that energy from the disagreeable persons. All right. I'm not going to go through that again. I'm just going to ask you to breathe and you'll feel into what part of everything that was said. And it could be something else that pops up for you, which is absolutely fine. Remember, there's no two people alike. And also, when there's energy work, there are the conscious things that you believe are a problem. But if they're already in your consciousness, they're likely not the issue. There's something hidden. So allow the work to find those hidden aspects that keep you in the pathological people pleasing. I'm not talking about natural. Natural people pleasing is just fine. There's also natural people pleasing in that I like to please people. I like to have, happiness, but it's not rigid. If it's rigid, if that's the only thing you want to have as an outcome, then you won't be able to deal with those people who, are going to be difficult, are going to be disagreeable, are going to not want to please you, not even care about pleasing you. I often hear people say, why do you care? Why do you care? And well, yeah, we're in this together, aren't we? We're together. There are people you leave your home if someone is disrespecting the environment and throwing garbage on the ground, if somebody is, the other day I was down we went down the canal and there's a pathway that shows bikes over here, pedestrians over there, and that shows the direction to go into. And one guy went in the wrong direction. And another guy chased him and said, "Don't you understand? You're going in the wrong direction. It's dangerous. It's not correct. There's plenty of room for you to go. Why do you have to go down the opposite way?" Yeah. So these are things we need to respect. I don't say just follow it. If you want to go in the opposite direction, but you stay out of the way, you respect people who are following the rules. Okay, fine. My partner would disagree with me. He wants everybody to follow the rules exactly. I don't I don't agree with that. So obviously, we can have many different viewpoints, but how is society going to work if we're not thinking that there is another person around? How's it going to work? I don't think it will. We have to understand that, okay, I might not be following this rule as I'm walking. I might walk up on the grass instead of walk in the other direction. But I do need to understand most people are going to be walking in this. Why would I go against the whole thing? Yeah, some people walk on the wrong side of the street and they insist on walking on the wrong side of the street. The pathways, right? You have one going down the right, one going down the left, and they insist. Can you imagine if cars were doing that? We'd have big problems. So, it's always, I'm not just pleasing the person. I am working to work together, which is pleasurable for all of us. If my narcissistic need to have my way met is the only one, and I'm putting someone else at a disadvantage, that's not going to be good either. So just pointing out there are some needs or some requirements for people pleasing. So we don't want it out the window, where some people go, "Oh, I don't have to please anybody, and I don't care." It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good just to have like everyone doing anything. I don't think, unless somebody can show me it's good, but it doesn't seem to me that that's going to be appropriate. So we want to be able to have ultimately a correct discernment. How do we do that? Well, if somebody is having difficulty doing something, we might need to help that person. We might need to teach that person, and we need to be courageous enough to do it. Of course, that's going to be hard as well. That's where no comes in, and that's where the courage to give your viewpoint. Not, I don't look at, I'm going to give my viewpoint about the other. No, that's not my business. But my viewpoint of where I stand in the world and why, and then we have a discussion about that would be great. Would be absolutely great. I think. I don't know. So I'm not doing any of this. These are only ideas that I have that I don't, they could be challenged. They could be looked at differently. That's fine. We'll allow your brain to do that. I'm just trying to trigger different aspects and different thoughts within your system so your gut brain can take in all that information. There's way more to talk about. I don't have somebody to sit here and discuss this with. So I'm trying to discuss it with myself and give myself opposite viewpoints to be able to have the gut brain doing that. So when I started, my gut brain was feeling a little strange, and now it's actually organizing itself. So I understand that it's trying to make the appropriate decisions with everything going on. So we also need the universal. So there's the collective consciousness. There are so many disagreements on what people pleasing would be like, right? So we just need to organize it enough within ourselves to be able to deal flexibly with the world around us and not have to succumb to just being that pleasant pleaser. But it does take a world to make things happen, right? There's always going to be, I'm just seeing this polarization. There's going to be the one who pleases and the one who's going to be consistently disagreeable. I don't know about you, but I have that in my family. We have the people pleasers and then we have the disagreeable ones. And sometimes you need to, have that pushback on those disagreeable ones. You're agreeable. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, I've had enough already. It's time for you to succumb a little bit, especially in close relationships. I don't know how we could do it with ones that are further away. I'm hoping that this will help us all come to some kind of recognition of each other. But that's a little bit. I do have an idealistic tendency once in a while, so I will only say I hope, and Something that I've been exploring recently that used to be a massive trigger for me, which was faith and hope. Those two things were always, I felt as though I had, um, if I'm hoping for something and I have faith in something, I have no control. It's taken me many, many years to come to a place where, right, I don't have control. I can only have faith. That's all I can have is faith in whatever's going to happen, and I can hope. Whereas I used to think that's just going to bring me down. Now I'm like, maybe a little hope, maybe a little faith, faith in humanity, faith in ourselves, faith that I could do it, that I can, wake up in the morning and be able to go through my day and help as many people as possible and help myself as well. So I do have, I realized all of a sudden, I don't know how to define it, but I realized, oh my goodness, I have probably lived the majority of my life with faith. And I denied it and denied it and denied it. And I realized, oh my goodness, yes, faith in everything that I carry out. So it's become, and this is very recent. This is only months, where it's become a comfort that faith can bring that comfort. So I might have faith that someone can figure something out. I can have faith that someone might understand that what I try to do in the world, that I try to help. And yeah, maybe I don't do it right. Okay, it's possible. Maybe I make mistakes. Okay, that's possible. But I have faith that someone else can come in and help me out, support me, and I can support them back. And that's pretty much all I can ask for. Is that's how we can do things in life. So let's just bring that faith, faith, hope, and charity are things that come from the virtues, the seven virtues. So we can look at those virtues in relationship to people pleasing, because I think there's pathological people pleasing, and then there's the beauty of faith, hope, and charity that is part of people pleasing, that I want to have relationships with other people. It's not that I want to make you happy, but I would like to bring some benefit to you, and that you would have the gratitude to say, okay, good, that was nice. So maybe that'll help our hearts open up a little bit and be able to have that relationship within our bodies. That war is going on all the time, because the head goes, I did this for you, and now, oh, you're treating me badly. That's going to be in our head. Our heart is going to say, all right, I did this for this person, but they have a lot of things going on and they're not able to do it. And my mother has often said to me, I don't know who this quote is from, but my mother's often said it to me, is, you don't know, sorry, it's not like that. You can't assume that other people have had the advantages that you have had, which really brings me back all the time to gratitude. Because if you are able to please others, right? Think about that for a moment. If I am able to please others, what kind of advantage did I have in my life that I could even include being able to please you? Wow. Wow, right? That is the heart energy. That's the gratitude that we could have in our hearts, and well, in the entire body mind, in our psyche as well, that I am able to think for a moment that I would like to please you. Imagine it. To me, it feels like that is something that is, I don't know, higher order thinking. It's the height of humanity that we can do that. It's not. Otherwise, we're just animals. My bird doesn't care about pleasing me. He only cares about pleasing himself. He doesn't care if I'm happy or sad. He only wants what he wants for himself, and he will respond in kind. If I cuddle him, he's going to be very cuddly. I like that. but he's not cuddling for me. He's only doing it for himself. He doesn't care, as I am too, but I like giving him what he needs as well. But he has no interest in giving to me what I need. That bird has taught me a lot. A lot, a lot, a lot. There is no interest in anything that has to do with giving. So to me, that's a human thing where we want to give. We do get pleasure from giving to someone else, even if they don't acknowledge it, right? The anonymous charity. It feels so good, right? To give something without anyone knowing that you've done it. It feels great. Yeah, you don't have to have the person know. That's a good test. So I think we're confused, and I would say that the way this session just went, and these aspects I brought up, I don't think I've ever seen it in this way from myself. Maybe I don't even know if I've seen it from anyone else, but I just feel like, oh my God, people pleasing has always been so taboo for me. It's something I've done a lot, but I've always felt like I need to get that managed. And right now I'm going, wait a minute, this could be, something that is way more powerful, and that we can remove the pathology by understanding that the three brains operate together. So my thoughts about it are a problem. Like if I think it's good to give, or I think it's bad to give, that's going to be a problem. That my heart understands what's going on and it gets pleasure from giving, great. Great. And yes, it's going to be hurt when someone slaps your hand after you've given them something. But my heart can understand that that person is going through something. They might even feel manipulated. Yeah. People can feel manipulated. If you give them something, they could feel as though you've manipulated them. Yeah, that can happen very often. Why are you doing this for me? You shouldn't be doing this for me. So we can understand that. Then the gut brain needs to come in and help us to discern when and where we do this. If somebody tells me, I don't like that you've given me, well, that's a good thing. Yeah, it's going to hurt for the moment. Yes. But it's a good understanding of, wait a minute, not everybody wants that. And you might give them the wrong thing, right? There could be a narcissistic tendency to give them something they don't want, they don't need. Sometimes it's insulting, to give somebody something that they don't need. Plenty of people say, this is what I need. And the other person goes and gives them something they absolutely don't need. That's not relating to a human being. Wow. I didn't know I'd thought about this that much. Anyway, okay, so let's get whatever I've just said, whatever has popped up for this session, and whatever you've thought of to start to find its way to balance and organize through the connectome, the neurological tissue in the heart, and the gut brain. I lost internet. Yeah, I don't know what I was saying, but please like, share, subscribe, and also let me know, what your experience of this session is. Especially, it really is an advantage to everyone if you share what thoughts came up for you about people pleasing. Whether it's natural consciousness, whether it's good, whether it's bad. I think most of my life I've seen it as a pathological thing. But today I'm seeing it as, oh, okay, there's a pathology, but there's also so much beauty in being not as an addiction, not people pleasing as an addiction, but the beauty of it. So it wouldn't be attractive to us if we didn't think it was good. Now, I will add that there's a lot of people pleasing based in fear and guilt. So we need to dissociate a lot of that as well. So a lot of people pleasing based in fear and guilt. So what I'm thinking is that this entire session is coming at it from a perspective that says, wait a minute, I shouldn't fear this. I shouldn't fear what's going on. I need to start looking at where people pleasing works for me, and my gut brain will discern when to say no. So it's just a different approach. It doesn't mean that the guilt and fear wasn't there. All right. So have a great week. And I hope you find this helpful. Be well, everyone. Bye.